What's up YouTube community, Bernd here, welcome back to another video lesson. In this one I'd like to show you one of my favorite practice concepts ever, combining technique and theory. With today's exercise we will work on one of the most top voted topics that you guys picked on Patreon, combining scales with arpeggios. But as always we also want to challenge and further develop our technique. So after watching today's lesson you will have an amazing workout for your alternate picking, sweep picking, and you will understand how to combine arpeggios with scales correctly. So without further ado, let's get started. Scales and arpeggios are often thought about those two completely separated topics. Especially with shred guitar playing, you either play a fast scale run or you're playing arpeggio shapes with sweep picking. But with today's lesson I'd like to further motivate you to build a connection between those two topics. As we discussed on this channel already, all the harmonic information I need in order to build the chords or arpeggios within a key is already featured in the scale. So as a quick example, when I take the first, third and fifth note in the A minor scale, that would be A on the 5th fret of the low E string, C on the 8th fret of the low E string for example, and E on the 7th fret of the A string. And that would be the most basic A minor arpeggio I could possibly play. So as you can see on the graphic below, I could visualize the A minor scale in the basic position, starting from the 5th fret of the low E string, our root note A, up to the next A, to the octave. So while I'm actually thinking in this scale box, in this basic A minor scale box, I could actually visualize this arpeggio, the A minor arpeggio, just playing A, C and E. Or I could see this basic D minor arpeggio playing D, F and A. I could also visualize the B diminished arpeggio for example by just playing B, D and F and so on. So there are a lot of possibilities, 7 actually, with those 7 notes. And by seeing and playing those arpeggios within the scale I get a much more interesting result than just playing scale up and down all the time. That especially comes very handy when I'm playing in exotic scales. For today's example I'm picking the C Lydian scale. As you might know by now, this is my favorite major mode because we have that additional dissonance right here with the raised 4th scale degree. So if you would be my student I would ask you to play a C Lydian arpeggio right now. And if you can't find or memorize one on the fretboard, I would ask you to play the C Lydian scale. The result with most of my students in this situation is that they can play a small fragment of the C Lydian scale on the fretboard, but they can't play a C Lydian arpeggio for me. But if you know how to play the scale and you can visualize it on the neck, it's actually quite easy to come up with a custom arpeggio shape for the mode. And that is exactly what we're doing with the practical example for today. Let's check it out in detail right now. As always, you can find the detailed tabs, guitar profiles and practice backing tracks in different tempos for this exercise on my Patreon page, patreon.com/Bernd. Now before we check out this exercise in detail, I'd like to take a quick moment to talk about protecting your favorite instruments correctly. I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, Bag & Music, real quick. When I'm on tour, I mostly use hard cases to protect my instruments since they are stored in the trailer that is attached to the nightliner. But I honestly don't really enjoy carrying those around when I'm going to studio appointments or to band rehearsals. So I was searching for soft cases for quite a long time that offer a similar protection for my instruments without any bad surprises when I open them up. The Pro Series model they sent me is the most strong, protected and functional of them. The exterior fabric is the most dense of those available on the market, and this is the case I'm mostly using right now whenever I'm traveling to studio appointments or to band rehearsals. The Slim model is a slightly simplified version of the Pro model. The fabric is less dense here but quite adequate for regular use without severe handling. The light model they have is also a simplified version of the Pro, but there are no sidewalls and pillows for the neck. So thanks again to Bag & Music for sending over those cases. I really like the quality of them and I will use them pretty much every day from now on. If you're also searching for new cases for your favorite guitars, make sure to check them out at bagandmusic.com. So for the practical example, I was working with this scale position for the C Lydian scale. I was starting with C on the 8th fret of the low E string right here, moving up to D, E, F sharp, That's actually the characteristic note of Lydian right here, that raised fourth. That gives us this cool dissonance. So once again, C, D, E, F sharp. Then I'm continuing with G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, and up to F sharp on the 14th fret of the high E string. But instead of just playing regular alternate picking patterns within the scale, I am visualizing and constructing a C Lydian arpeggio. So when you look at the graphic, the gray notes with low opacity actually symbolize the scale I'm thinking in, and the other highlighted notes symbolize the arpeggio shape I came up with. So I'm actually seeing this scale position when I'm looking at the fretboard, but I'm not just playing every single note that I can see. I'm playing an arpeggio by starting with the root note, and then I'm not going to the second note in the scale, I'm going to the third, to the major third in this case, so from C to E. And after that, I'm not yet including the characteristic raised fourth scale degree. I'm moving to the perfect fifth, so I get that classic arpeggio sound because I'm playing the first note in the scale, third note, and the fifth note. So root, major third, perfect fifth, the most basic C major arpeggio. After that I decide to include even more notes. I'm moving to B on the 9th fret of the D string to get the major 7th interval, which gives us some nice tension in our arpeggio. Then I'm hammering on to D, which is the 9th, which also sounds really nice. So two very important notes right here. And then I finally move to the 11th fret of the G string, where we get the dissonant characteristic Lydian interval, the raised fourth scale degree. So up to this point, a really nice arpeggio. And as you can hear, it clearly has the sound and the characteristics of the C Lydian scale. But it sounds even more interesting because we're skipping a couple of notes, so it gets that arpeggio sound. So at the top of the arpeggio, I'm concluding with A on the 10th fret of the B string and with the root C on the 13th fret of the B string. And the interesting thing that's happening here is that I'm playing A right here with my middle finger and C with my pinky finger, so I can stay in the same position with my hands and I don't have to shift between different positions. So I'm playing. And as we said, we also want to work on our technique right here, so I don't just play the arpeggio up and down, I'm playing an interesting sequence. So instead of just playing, I'm playing. That sounds much more interesting, but it's also more challenging because I have to reposition my hand for the sweep picking. Watch my right hand closely as I'm playing it again. So as you can see, I'm still just playing downstrokes, I'm staying with the sweep picking motion. But my right hand has to travel back to the A string. So here I'm on the D string and I have to go back. And that can be quite challenging in the beginning, but it's definitely worth it because it sounds so much nicer than just going down and up and down and up the arpeggio all the time. And when we move back down, it gets even harder, and that's a great exercise for your left hand because the finger pairing is a bit unusual. Instead of just descending normally, I'm playing . So I'm just playing upstrokes, the regular upward motion when I'm sweeping, but here I'm playing a downstroke when I'm going back up to A. And aside from not using your index finger right here, the jump with the right hand is really difficult, so this is a great exercise for your routine. Right now I'm playing this fragment of the exercise pretty much every day to work on my left and on my right hand skills at the same time. It's really difficult to get that one right without any overlapping notes. So once again, the full pattern for the arpeggio. And then I'm just ending the phrase with a basic scale run and with a dissonant interval. Let's hear the entire section in 2 different tempos once again. So this one is a great workout for your music theory skills, so you can see arpeggio shapes within scale positions better, and you're also working on your sweep picking and your alternate picking. I can really recommend adding it to your daily practice routine because you benefit in all those different areas at once. Make sure to download the tabs and guitar profiles on Patreon right now to study it and get started with practicing it to the backing tracks that I uploaded. In the end, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to join this community today and to never miss another free guitar lesson again. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one or if you learned something new, or a comment in case I can answer any questions for you. I hope you have a lot of fun with this exercise. I will see you in the next video lesson. All the best until then and have fun practicing.